Welcome friends, welcome back to the kitchen. Today we're going to be making a berry galette. Super simple. We're going to use the puff pastry that we made a few episodes ago. And I'm going to start out by making a frangipan, which is super simple. It is really just super simple. Don't let the word frangipan scare you away. So I've got butter in there. I'm using powdered sugar or icing sugar. Put that in, and we're going to cream those two together. To that, I'm going to add a little bit of salt, some vanilla, and the ground almonds. If you live somewhere where you recognize this package, it is exactly one package of 100 grams of ground almonds. And now we crack in 2 eggs. First one mixes in really quickly, and the second one. And the second egg. And that's it for the frangipan. Now we just roll out the puff pastry. You could use a short crust pastry for sure. I've got the puff pastry. I made it a little while ago, kept it in the freezer, took it out of the freezer last night, left it in the fridge overnight, and now it has thawed to the point where it's good to roll. So, a little bit of flour on the bench, out with the puff pastry, and we'll start to roll it out. And galette, by its very definition, is rustic. So, shape, not that big of a concern. But if shape is a concern, your rolling pin is your friend. I'm using a straight rolling pin. I also have one that tapers to both ends, and the one that tapers is a little bit easier. No, the one that tapers is harder to figure out. Once you figured it out, it's easier to use if you're trying to bring a shape, a wonky shape back into the right shape. So this one is kind of a keystone shape. Almost impossible for me to show you through video how to do it, but you just kind of play with it a little bit and you can bring it back to a rectangle if you want to. If you don't want to, don't worry about it. Just look at your friends and say, it's rustic. Not bad, almost rectangular. So I've got a baking sheet with parchment paper on it, and we'll just transfer that over. Pretty much fills the pan. Now I'm going to mix up an egg wash, which is just, in this case today, I'm just going to use 1 egg. Sometimes I'll mix an egg with a little bit of water or a little bit of milk, but today I'm just going to use the egg. And then with a brush, just going to brush around the edge. Not too much. I often overdo it, and when I overdo it, it doesn't stick very well. And then I'm just going to go around the edge, fold it over a little bit, crimp it down, fold it over, crimp it down. You get the idea. Now, into the middle of this goes the frangipan. And so I just scoop it out, and I try not to get any on top of the edge that I just folded over, because that edge is going to puff up really nicely. And I just come at that with an offset spatula. Sprinkle on the berries. Now I'm using raspberries and blackberries. Could just as easily be strawberries. Could be pears, could be peaches, could be plums, could be apples. You know, whatever fruit is in season, whatever fruit you have in your fridge, whatever fruit you see at the market that's on sale. I mean, don't be too precious about it. You don't have to follow the recipe. It's just the idea that you're combining fruit on top of this. That's all that really matters. Last couple of berries. And then I'll just go around the pastry with the egg wash. I'll give it a nice sheen. And then sprinkle some slivered almonds over the top. to the oven. The oven's preheated at 375, and I'll come back in about half an hour and check on it and sort of judge how much longer it needs from there. Okay, so sometimes it doesn't work out. That is not what was supposed to happen. Not what was supposed to happen at all. Looks like our puff pastry puffed too much and puffed in the wrong places. It was supposed to just puff around the rim. I got a really good puff in the middle. Most of the frangipan has sloughed off the sides. A lot of the fruit's fallen off. We'll just leave it on the counter, let it cool. Maybe it'll subside a little bit. By the time Julie gets home, we'll give it a try, see what happens. It's not pretty, but I'm sure it tastes great.
Hey, Glenn. Hey, friends.
Oh.
Was this like a
It was
puff?
a giant
Like kind of
dome.
over puff, kind of.
So it's
It's funny looking.
a berry galette on puff pastry, and there's with the
So it's fascinating because I kind of want to try this as itself, and then this with the berries. Because
Yep.
like, what did you put on it? Is
So
that like
it's-
sugar?
no, it's a frangipan, so it's an
Oh,
almond
okay.
paste, and it shouldn't have puffed under the frangipan. There should be no puff under the frangipan.
Who said that?
1,000
The
years,
internet?
1,000 years of cooking history.
Well, apparently
But apparently,
you did something different.
so in terms of puff pastry, total win. It puffed like you wouldn't believe. In terms of berry galette, total fail because it
Puff like
puffed
you wouldn't
and
believe.
it sloughed everything off to one side. Okay, so let's cut it.
Well,
It's
at
gonna
least
taste
it
great.
all went. It stayed on here versus having
Okay, so we'll cut a piece here. And,
Yes, I want to try both. I'll get a fork.
oh, Julie. I'm gonna say
Yep, the pastry looks really good.
this is gonna be fantastic.
It's just an almond pastry now instead.
Yeah.
All right. I mean, I don't even need forks. There you go.
No.
Clearly.
Okay.
I don't know what I was thinking.
Let's try this end first. That puff pastry. That is amazing.
That's a really good looking puff pastry.
Mm-hmm.
It's a really good puff pastry with a light almond flavor.
Light almond flavor on top. That's amazing. Okay. So here's one with the berry.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe it's just me. All day long, every time I said berry galette, all I could think about was a character on the McLeod TV show from the 70s, Barry Galette. He was a lounge,
Really?
He was a lounge singer. No, not really.
Oh,
Not
you
really.
think that would fit on the McLeod? I'm like, I don't remember that character.
No.
Okay. Mmm. A little bit of fruit, just, you know.
Mhm.
Mmm. That's really good, Glenn.
Oh man. So
No, is this from the frozen pastry?
yes, this is
Nice.
This is a puff pastry I made a few weeks ago.
Mm-hmm.
I wouldn't share this with Martha. She'd probably look at it and go, "Glenn, what have you done?" But that, flavor-wise, is amazing. Texture-wise, is amazing.
I'll make it work.
Yeah.
You know, sometimes you have to just. It is what it is right now.
Yeah.
I'm curious about what happened.
I just got too much puff. So if you're using frozen puff pastry from the grocery store, that's probably not going to happen.
No. No.
Um,
Or if you're an experienced an experienced puff pastry maker,
Yeah.
if you've got some hints, please throw them down in the
Oh,
discussion because you know
It's the internet.
there'll be lots to
There's
say.
lots-
I
lots-
don't even need to ask, do I? That's
No,
right.
No.
That's right.
Okay, so that's amazing. It looks like a fail, but it's a winner because it tastes great.
And in the end,
it might
all that
fail.
matters.
Yeah, it might fail for you at home the same way, but it doesn't matter. It tastes great. Your family's going to love it. They might rib you a little bit for a couple weeks afterwards,
nah.
but it tastes amazing.
They'll be glad you made it.
Yeah. Thanks for stopping by. See you again soon.
Now, if you had seen it coming, if you had, the whole thing would have fallen, and you'd get no puff.
It might have, yeah. I didn't see it coming. I wasn't in here. I wasn't watching.
Of course you would. Why would you do that? Why on earth would you do that? That'd be like,
I know.
standing there watching your oven cook.